Final week of January 2015, and of course we're in full swing in terms of basketball here at Lincoln Memorial University. However, the crossover sports, that's for us in sports information, broadcast, athletic training. They're getting ready to get underway, and that's going to be a nightmare time for all of us. Of course, the LMU men's basketball team still nationally ranked, number 1 in one poll, number 2 in another, 17-0 going into this weekend's play. They'll host Catawba on Saturday, Brevard on Wednesday. The Lady Railsplitters still above the 500 at 9-8 overall and 6-5 in league play. They too will be in action against Catawba Saturday in Brevard. We're going to talk about that a little bit towards the end of the show. We'll talk with Natalie Layden of the Lincoln Memorial University softball program in the first segment of tonight's show. And a little bit later on, Caitlin Carossi of the LMU lacrosse program. And we'll talk about the upcoming season for both of those sports. And that's when we return, as you are locked in to tonight's edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Stay with us.
We have a big problem, and we need your help.
It's happening on college campuses, at bars, at parties, even in high schools.
It's happening to our sisters and our daughters,
our wives and our friends.
It's called sexual assault, and it has to stop.
We have to stop it. So listen up.
If she doesn't consent, or if she can't consent, it's rape, it's assault.
It's a crime. It's wrong.
If I saw it happening, I was taught you have to do something about it.
If I saw it happening, I speak up.
If I saw it happening, I'd never blame her. I'd help her.
Because I don't want to be a part of the problem.
I want to be a part of the solution.
We need all of you to be part of the solution. This is about respect. It's about responsibility.
It's up to all of us to put an end to sexual assault. And that starts with you.
Because one is too many.
Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change.
Let's go!
To the Batmobile. Dang it.
To the invisible jet.
Dang it.
Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women.
I could use your help.
Yeah! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
If you love your car or truck, let us help you keep it clean at Soapy J. Soapy J's has unlimited wash plans to fit every budget. Try our $5 express wash or one of our 3 monthly wash plans. The Wheel Deal, the Soapy J, or the new Blast Wax. With our monthly wash plans, if you pay with credit card, all you do is pay for the present month and your card will be billed on the 1st of each month. Don't forget, Soapy J's has free vacuums with any wash. Soapy J's Express Car Wash, open 7 days a week. Let us help keep your car or truck clean at Soapy J's. Soapy J's on the Cumberland Gap Parkway, Middlesboro.
Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. As promised, we have Lincoln Memorial University head softball coach Natalie Layden with us tonight. I've got soccer on the brain right now. We've got so many sports going. Coach, for us, those of us in broadcast, those of us in sports information and athletic training, and about a week from now, I guess for the athletic training, it's already there. We've got the crossover season, and we've got probably anywhere between 8 and 10 sports going at one time. For you, you concentrate on softball, but that's a year-round process, and I know that it has been a long time in coming in setting things up and getting pieces in place for the 2015 spring schedule.
Yeah, we're excited. I think we have a good mix of experience yet enthusiasm out of the freshmen. So far through our practices, they've done a very nice job as far as the work ethic and the attitude, the things that you can expect them to control. We're looking to go into the 2015 season and compete.
The competitive nature of this team, and I got to go back to that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I go back to the SAC tournament a year ago, and I thought we went into the SAC tournament with a lot of energy in our step. Mm-hmm. One of the strongest fields in SAC play that I've seen, and unfortunately we went out in 2, but it was a team that I thought really had a pretty high ceiling. It just didn't happen for us in the postseason.
Yeah, we did. I don't really know what team showed up to the conference tournament, to be honest. There's no excuse there. We hosted. Protect your home field a little better than what we did. But, I think that it was a good learning experience for us, and, will hopefully help push us here in the future as we go to Coker, hopefully this year for the conference tournament as well.
Yeah, that's a long way from Harrogate to Hartsville. I can tell you that. I've done it before. I'm going to do it again here pretty soon. But, Coach, with last year's finish, you lost a couple of key players. I know right dead center field is one of the hardest hit areas that you suffered a loss in. And, how have you recruited to I don't like the word replace in that type situation because I don't think you replace a player like that. But I think you got to bring in some pieces to come together and field a team and hopefully create a whole new style of play.
Right. Yeah. Our senior class last year was a talented class and definitely contributed to our program in many different ways. You know, you don't replace our Brianna Mulkey. You try to put a pair of shoes beside hers. And, you know, that's what we're trying to do right now in the building process. And, you know, we've had a freshman that's worked mostly in center field for us. But luckily for her, she has 2 upperclassmen that, you know, are working left and right field that have helped groom her. And, you know, you just hope that she can be competitive and continue growing. And when you have her over 4 years, that hopefully by the time she graduates, you know, she is a quality athlete for LMU. And, you know, you lose a leader like Danae Reed. That's a tough leader to lose because she's by example. Those are always hard to find. And then you've got Laura Dozat now, but Terracano at the time, and Kirsten Toole, who is currently our GA. You know, those guys contributed in a lot of different ways, not only pitching and catching, but offensively they did a nice job for us and provided a lot of leadership that it's hard to replace all in 1 year.
You had strength at different areas last year, but I thought the pitching there for a long time, you really had some of the more quality pitching in the league.
Yeah, our pitching this year has actually looked a little bit better than what we have in the past. You know, we've added a freshman to the group, and, you know, along with Sam Smith, who's thrown 230 to 250 innings for us each year. You know, it's always nice to have somebody of that caliber that throws that many innings for you. You know, this fall, the 2 of them showed to work well together, you know, with Amanda Snow coming in behind them with the speed that she, you know, gives us and definitely offsets the 2 of them. And it seemed to work really well this fall, but of course they're fall games, so they don't really matter a whole lot.
Most coaches this time of year, now to be fair, you've only been in practice now since coming back from the Christmas break for a couple of weeks, but if that really, most coaches this time of year kind of pessimistic, and I'm the eternal pessimist.
Right.
I'm the resident pessimist in this building for sure. What's your take on the way you're seeing your team shape up right now in preparation for 2015?
Yeah, you know, right now we're just looking to play clean softball, and that's what we're working on in practice as far as fielding, throwing, and hitting, you know, to be as consistent but yet as clean as possible. You know, right now they're working really hard and putting in a lot of work. You know, we were very fortunate that they came back from Christmas break ready to play. You know, out of the 4 conditioning tests, every single player on our team passed all of them. So, of course, now, you know, there's less conditioning work and those kinds of things and more softball skill work going on. And it's nice to see that with a young team because, you know, we are pretty young, even though we have 5 freshmen, 3 of them are JUCO transfers, along with 5 freshmen. So it's a tough one to put it all together.
With the new faces in the lineup now, how do you see the chemistry on this year's team only 2 weeks into the spring schedule?
It seems to be a tight-knit group. You know, they work really well together. I believe that they've definitely grown together over the fall. You know, the fall was a little rocky there in the beginning, but, you know, as the season has progressed and through the fall and up to this point, they've really started to grow together as a team and starting to find their identity. Now it'll be interesting to see it on the field.
I know that recently there were some amendments to some of the NCAA rules that have allowed baseball and softball to get started a little bit early. Have you made any changes to your schedule that you will try to get some games in earlier this year?
We won't this year. You know, with the weather and things like that, honestly, I don't see it being productive for our team. You know, we're not able to get one of those big games early in the season that are really going to, you know, test your team like you would like, you know, where baseball's fortunate. They have USC Aiken and those kinds of games early, whereas for us, our conference tournament is until April, and yet everything is done in tournament style for the most part in February. So we mostly go away in February, and, you know, starting them too early, I don't know if that's necessarily a positive, but I would like to start a little earlier next year than what we did this year, but we left it alone, and we're going to go with it and hopefully be as prepared as possible game 1.
Well, I can tell you that for those of us who live here in the tri-state area for a long time, most migratory birds fly south for the winter. Kind of the case for the Lady Railsplitter softball team in terms of the early schedule. I'm looking, you get started officially February 14th. I know you said before we went on the air that you're trying to bring in a game on the 11th,
right,
or a series, if you will. But you only have one home date. That's February 18th until March the 14th. Coach, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, we picking up regional tournaments. We play 3 nationally ranked programs the very first weekend out. And that's something that we definitely want to challenge ourselves the best we can in the non-conference schedule before we get started with conference in March. So in order to do that, we've got to travel. You know, a lot of times they don't want to come to Harrogate for a single game, or they'll try to tag team it with us in Carson-Newman, but it just didn't work out this year for a lot of those programs. So we'll be heading south. Team will fly to Florida February 19th, go down to St. Leo. We'll get 3 more regional games in, along with playing North Georgia, who's typically top 15 in the country. And, you know, I think it'll really challenge our team before we get into conference play. We should be prepared.
Yeah, I look at some of the early season opponents that you got: Georgia College, Montevallo, Columbus State, Young Harris. Not a bad program, not what I would consider those others. Then you go down, you look at that in the St. Leo Softball Invitational, you got Stillman, but then Lynn, Flagler, UNC Pembroke, Bellarmine, Alderson brought us on down the line in the Mid-South Classic, UNC Pembroke again. Coach, I'll tell you what, for a young team, you're starting off with a brutal schedule.
That's the point. Break them in early.
Trial by fire.
Hopefully by the time they're juniors or seniors, they'll be used to it. And, you know, we raised the bar last year by being regionally ranked for the first time and, you know, really have that postseason tournament in our sights. You know, right now we're just more worried about us as individuals and developing as athletes, and you know, you hope the scoreboard takes care of itself. That's the plan.
Well, we finished the 2014 season with the broadcast of the 2014 SAC tournament. Our goal this year is to broadcast some select home softball doubleheaders. Primarily those will be in-conference doubleheaders. Coach, I know that you've probably had the opportunity to field comments from parents. Most of those parents were in attendance for that tournament, but what was the feedback that you got on the broadcast of the 14 tournament?
Oh yeah, the broadcast, there was, I mean, I can't even describe how many positive comments we got about it from parents, from recruits, especially some of the families that, you know, are far enough away to where they couldn't travel in for the tournament. And, you know, they were really appreciative of the fact that they were able to watch their kids play, you know, even though they couldn't get off work or those kinds of things. But even this year, it's worked out to where, you know, I put them on DVDs and now for scouting and that kind of stuff. So it's still carrying on a positive aura over there in the softball office.
Well, we certainly hope that we're able to bring more to both your program, to the parents of the players that you have, and to the entire Lincoln Memorial University family. Let me tell you, folks, the Dorothy Neely Field, it's a great place to watch a softball game. There's not a bad seat in the house. It's free admission. I mean, you got to come on over and support this team as they get ready to open up 2014. Hopefully, we'll have some warmer weather come up in the March days. You'll have a couple of dates maybe at home in February, but definitely a good ball club to watch here this year. Very young. They're going to have a lot of talent, and I think a lot of fun to watch. Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
All right. All right. If you'd like to find more about the LMU softball program, contact Coach Layden. You can reach her going through the athletics department, extension 423-869-6285. Ask for Coach Natalie Layden. We'll be back right after this on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
And to follow the swimming rules.
You're always looking out for me and trying to keep me safe.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
Here in the garage.
Closet. Shoebox under the bed.
Where anyone can get to it. How safe is that?
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible and be sure that it's stored in a safe place. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org.
You can be a hero by being prepared for an emergency. First, make a plan. Call a family meeting to plan for things like how to connect with loved ones after an emergency.
There.
Or your escape route.
I am not fast.
Build a kit. When disaster strikes, it's important to have enough supplies to last 3 days. And don't forget the batteries.
Low battery.
Number 3, know the facts. From blackouts to floods, no matter the emergency, the more you know about it, the better you can deal with it.
You're gonna need some upgrades.
Number 4, get involved. Lend a hand in your community to help others know their role in an emergency.
You guys, do you feel this? We're gonna be heroes!
You can be a hero by being prepared.
Yes!
Visit ready.gov/kids for more preparedness tips.
Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. You know, as we talked about the crossover season a little bit earlier, one of the new sports that's getting started this year is women's lacrosse, along with men's lacrosse. A couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, we had Ryan Kuhn, the head men's lacrosse coach, on, and this week we have Caitlin Carassi, who joins us in the studio now. Coach, welcome.
Thanks. Great to be here.
We've had Coach Carassi on once earlier in the year, and, you know, since that time, you've had the opportunity to work your team out a little bit in off-season. I know that now it's getting down to crunch time, and in front of me I have the 15 schedule, and Coach, you're going to have to hit the ground running this year.
Yep, we start off with conference play, you know, right away. We have Wingate as our first game on the 21st, and then Lenore Ryan the next week. So it's going to be tough, but you know what? We'll accept the challenge.
How have things been working out for you here? I know you, just like Coach Layden, you've only had a couple of weeks back since the Christmas holiday, but you've had the opportunity to work with your team over the last few months in off-season conditioning. The fields look like they've started to come in a little better. They're starting to get some of the infrastructure in down there. I think actually there was a meeting yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, about possible press facilities. There's power out there, so we're looking like we're going to be able to put together a pretty solid performance from a mechanical and engineering standpoint of the 2015 schedule.
Yeah, it's coming along great down there. I had a meeting even 2 days before about our locker rooms and things like that. So there definitely things are happening to get this program off the ground. And the girls came back ready to play after Christmas break, which was great because you know it's a new program. There's a lot of freshmen, young players. My sister and I didn't really know what we were going to get when they came back from Christmas break, but they've been in great spirits. They understand where they're at as a new program, and we've been working hard every day.
This is it's kind of overwhelming for me, and I'm sure it has been for you. You know, you take over as head coach in a program that has never played collegiate lacrosse before, and you know, only yesterday did I find out that there's a lot of differences in men's lacrosse and women's lacrosse. The field is a different size. You play with more players on the field. Talk to me about that for just a minute.
Well, you know, men's and women's lacrosse, yes, it's very different. There's even different lines on the field.
Wow.
Of how you set up. It's got, you know, the same aspect of, you know, going back and forth, trying to score a goal, offense, defense. It's, you know, there's comparisons with basketball and even hockey and soccer a little bit, but, you know, because we aren't as there isn't as much contact in women's lacrosse as men's lacrosse, they have to kind of make adjustments on how we play the game. But so we have a little bit more finesse, but they've got a lot more contact. So it's two very different games, but I think they'll both be great for people to come out and see.
When we last talked, I'm sure I asked this question, but I got to ask you again now, months later. What's been the most difficult thing for you as a coach thus far in terms of putting together the team and getting acclimated with recruiting and scheduling and so forth?
Well, I've had experience with new programs, so that I think has helped me, you know, be prepared for what to expect. But, you know, at the same time, like you said, like recruiting, you know, we've got to get, some coaches have had, you know, the whole summer to start recruiting. So we've had to, you know, really stress getting these recruits earlier and, you know, just working hard every day. That's all it is.
When you're beginning a new program, and please excuse me because I am somewhat in the dark as to this part of the subject. When you're beginning a new program in any sport for that matter, but in this particular case, women's lacrosse, is it difficult to go out and get the marquee players that you'd like to have when you're starting a new program?
Yes, I would say it's difficult just because they've never heard of the school. If there's, you know, with lacrosse especially, it's not nationwide yet. It's mostly in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic area, and it's just becoming, you know, bigger in the Midwest and the South. So our draw is trying to get those players from the Northeast to come down south, you know, a little bit nicer weather. But, you know, the marquee players want to see progress. So I think in the next couple of years we'll be able to get more of those more experienced players.
So when you recruit right now, are you primarily recruiting in the Northeast United States?
We're recruiting all over. We're looking for athletes and, you know, obviously lacrosse players, and, you know, we'll find that diamond in the rough hopefully from these different areas that aren't necessarily hotbeds.
All right, let's talk about the 2015 schedule again. When you look down the line, we've got conference and non-conference play. We've got NCAA Division II and NAIA opponents. In terms of the South Atlantic Conference, what do you know about the other teams in the league, and where does the power lie within those opponents?
The power lies in definitely experience with our conference. Queens, who has had a team, I think, for the longest, they're the top team to beat. And then Lenore-Rhine, same thing. And then as you go down the line, this conference is still young. So some of these programs are only 3 or 4 years old, some are only a year old, and some are their first year just like us. So it'll definitely be a test each game to see where these other programs are at and where we should be when we're at that 3rd year mark or 5th year mark.
Some of the other coaches here at Lincoln Memorial University have found that many times recruiting to LMU is tough because we are in such a rural area. You know, in some cases, and I don't know if this affects women's lacrosse, we don't give Pell Grant. We're not allowed to by the South Atlantic Conference. But we now have had the scholarship restriction lifted, which will be a stage thing, and eventually that should allow you to be able to give the maximum amount as allowed by the NCAA.
Yes, we're definitely looking forward to that, and each year building on that. Hopefully we can get like you said, more of those marquee players and things like that, and yeah, so hopefully we can be contenders in the conference earlier than later.
All right, now Coach Kuhn was instrumental in helping this get started. Is it tough trying to work around your players' class schedule and at the same time get down there on the lacrosse fields and share practice time on those same venues?
So far it hasn't really been much of an issue. With the girls' class schedule, we've kind of worked around it, and we told them, in the fall when you're scheduling your class, make sure you leave, our time slot open as best you can, because sometimes you can't help it, and that's just the nature of it. But with having men's and women's lacrosse practice in the same area, we have different practice times, so we haven't actually run into each other too much this spring. But once we have games and stuff, we'll run into each other more, and we'll just work through it.
I had heard back some time ago that maybe a couple of the women's soccer program players were interested in playing lacrosse for you. Has that been the case?
Yeah, we have one former soccer player, Carly Sepalak, who has joined the team this spring.
And in terms of the numbers right now, what are we looking at? I know that it's a process to get a full squad out there, and ultimately, what would your goal be in terms of numbers for this program?
My goal is to have between 25 and 30 players. Right now we're a little on the low end, but like you said, we're starting up, so people are just hearing about the sport, and with recruiting, we're trying to get as many numbers as we can to help us.
A lot of times for the coaches, I've found that they not only serve as head coach, but they serve as kind of the mom or dad away from home. Has some of your players, has it been a hard fit for them to become acclimated to the rural setting here at Lincoln Memorial?
I think that they're especially with the freshmen, they're definitely, I've seen more this semester than last semester, the adjustment. You can tell that they do want to be here. They're invested in starting this program, and they're excited about it. So I think yes, it's a little bit different atmosphere than some of where they're from, but they're kind of taking it in stride, which is nice to see as a coach.
How about you as a coach? Are you the kind of coach that likes to be in front of the camera, likes to give the interview?
Not particularly, but
comes with the job.
Yep, it comes with the job, and if this is what's going to help promote our program to get people in the stands, then that's what I've got to do.
All right. If I'm watching tonight's show, whether it be through the World Wide Web or of course here on local community TV, and I want more information about the women's lacrosse program, what do I need to do? How can I get in contact with you?
Through my email, caitlin.crossi@lmunet.edu, or by phone, which is 423-869-6264.
All right, again, that's 423-869-6264. If you can't reach Coach Crossi that way, you can always call the main athletics extension. They'll connect you. That's 423-869-6285. And, Lisa Jones will be glad to field your comments or questions and put you in contact with Coach Crossi. Coach, any last comments about the upcoming 2015 season? I know you'd love to see a big crowd out there in support of your program.
We really would, and everyone's excited to play, and I hope that everyone that would come to our games is excited as well.
Well, we certainly hope that folks will come out. We're excited about it. Lacrosse, new program here, and it's going to be very exciting from what we understand. You know, a lot of action, and we're looking forward to seeing your team on the field. All right, thanks to Coach Karasi for joining us tonight. We're going to take one more time out. We'll close out the show right after this on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
At Citizens Bank, we're different from everyone else. We've proudly served business communities of Northeast Tennessee since 1912 and have security you can count on. We offer the convenience of internet banking, excellent loan services on various types of loans, cash management, and small business banking at all of our convenient locations in Harrogate, Tazewell, New Tazewell, Bean Station, and Morristown. Visit our website to find out more at citizensbanktn.com. Citizens Bank, no more banking as usual.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
From commercial to residential, from the basement to the attic, Knoxville Drywall can deliver full-service drywall, insulation, and paint contracting. Knoxville Drywall specializes in new and tenant build-outs, drywall repair, drywall grids, metal stud framing, acoustical ceilings, suspended drywall ceilings, and ceiling and wall texturing and painting. Knoxville Drywall also provides wall-blown insulation for existing walls, attic-blown insulation, wall and ceiling batts insulation, and crawlspace insulation. Knoxville Drywall Incorporated, serving Knoxville and the surrounding area for more than 56 years with outstanding quality and competitive pricing.
Whether institutional case good or architectural woodwork, Nolan Products Incorporated of Knoxville has been serving East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and Southeast Kentucky since 1958. From concept to finish, Nolan Products custom builds to the highest quality standards to meet your facility specifications while using only the finest materials available. Nolan Products has been serving and meeting the needs and requirements of general contractors and architects in East Tennessee and surrounding area for more than 55 years. Nolan Products Incorporated, 912 Forsyth Street Northeast, Knoxville.
Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Again, my thanks to Natalie Layden of the Lincoln Memorial University softball program and, of course, Caitlin Karasi of the LMU lacrosse program for joining us here tonight for the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Now, again, they're going to get started in February, both those teams, and then a lot of the other teams. I think baseball's actually moved their three-game setup with USC Aiken. That's an annual series up into the last of January, so a lot going on. Then you got men's and women's tennis, you have men's and women's golf, all of which will be in action this spring. And it's just going to be an exciting time. Combine that with the men's lacrosse program, and there's just a lot going on for us to handle. Folks, don't forget this coming Saturday, the LMU men's and women's basketball teams back in the friendly confines of the Tex Turner Arena. Lady Railsplitters tip-off at 2 o'clock against the Indians of Catawba. We'll have pregame coverage on the LMU Sports Network at 1:40. Do join us. And then immediately following that one, following the postgame with Crystal Evans, we'll have the pregame with Josh Schertz as the nationally ranked Railsplitters, #1 in the latest media poll, #2 in the NABC poll. They'll take on the Indians of Catawba in the final game of the afternoon. That's scheduled for a 4 o'clock tip-off. That's about all the time we have for tonight's show. Keep in mind that if you like to keep up to date on everything going on with LMU Athletics, pull up the LMU Athletics website, www.lmurailsplitters.com. For everybody behind the scenes of the Railsplitter Athletics Report, I'm Rusty Peace. Until next Thursday, you've been watching the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Good night, everybody.